Check. Please rise for the entrance of the graduates and join us in singing Guide Me, O Thou Great Jehovah, found in your program.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this commencement ceremony for Bryn Athyn College of the New Church. As Chancellor, it's my privilege to lead us in worship for a spiritual devotion at the beginning of the ceremony. I would invite you to turn to the programs for the responsive readings and the prayers that are associated with this service. But right now, I'd invite you to remain standing for the opening of the word. Jesus said, "Where two or three are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them." Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. Please be seated or kneel. All nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, and shall glorify your name. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. But the Lord will arise over you, and his glory will be seen upon you. Let your light so shine before others that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. O Lord, forgive us our trespasses. Amen. Please be seated.
We'll be reading from the Lord's Word this morning, a parable that Jesus told, as recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, part of chapter 13. Another parable set he before them, saying, "The kingdom of the heavens is like a grain of mustard seed, which a man taking sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds. But when it is grown, it is greater than the herb, and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the heaven come and nest in its branches." So that's the whole parable. It's a short little parable, and Jesus doesn't go on to explain it. He simply tells this parable. It says the kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed. So if I had a grain of mustard seed on my finger here, none of you, even in the front row, would be able to see it. It's a teeny tiny little grain. But as he says, you plant something like that in the ground, you give it the right conditions to grow, and it sprouts and it comes up through the earth. And as it gets rain and water, it grows and grows and puts out leaves. And eventually it's a big enough plant that birds can come and make nests in it. From this tiny little thing, something big comes. Now again, Jesus didn't explain exactly what this parable meant, but there's a number of other parables like it, where he talks about the kingdom of heaven being something small that grows into something bigger, something small that turns out to be incredibly valuable. And so in a general sense, we can start to think about maybe what this means for us. That the Lord's kingdom, where God rules with his love and his wisdom, doesn't come in a big flashy way. It comes in a small way, something small inside of us that only gradually grows and blooms. The teachings for the new church do give us some more insight into the particular things that are represented in this parable. Talking about what exactly that grain of mustard seed is. It says a grain of mustard seed is a person's good before he becomes spiritual. which is the least of all seeds because he thinks that he does good of himself. And what is of himself is nothing but evil. But as he is in a state of regeneration, there is something of good in him, but it is the least of all. At length, as faith is joined with love, it grows larger and becomes an herb. And lastly, when the conjunction is completed, it becomes a tree. And then the birds of the heavens, in this passage denoting truths or things intellectual, build their nest in its branches, which are knowledges. So it goes there and says this little tiny seed is the beginnings of a desire to do good to others. That's where it starts. And when we first start thinking I should start doing good things for other people, it's got ourselves really tied up in it. We think I'm the source of goodness. This is coming from me. But that's still enough. That tiny seed. Because that tiny seed can be joined to faith, to a belief that actually this is coming from somewhere else. One of the goals of Bryn Athyn College is to create an environment where a seed like that can thrive and grow. Where you can start with this desire, I want to do something good for someone else. And then the belief, but that doesn't come from me. And then you gather knowledges. If you want to do good, you have to learn how to do good. And so you look out, what does it really mean to serve others? What is the most effective way for me to serve others? And this is what Bryn Athyn College hopes to instill is learning not just so you learn truths for the sake of knowledge, but learning so that you can serve others, serve the world as well as you can. And I'm sure many of us here have already experienced some of this. Starting with an idea, I want to do something for other people. You get an idea of what I'm going to do, and you try it, and you realize that didn't really work so well. I'll try something else. And you go to the Word. What does it mean to really do this in a way that's going to last and serve? And then you start to have these new ideas come in from out of nowhere. Those are those birds that come and make their nests. And you start to flourish, and something that started as this tiny grain of, I want to do something good for someone else, grows. But here's the thing, even if you have already experienced this, if you zoom out just a little bit, that tree is still relatively tiny compared to an entire forest or compared to the entire world. There's a passage from the book True Christian Religion where Emanuel Swedenborg writes about being allowed to see into heaven and seeing a place where there's a temple of wisdom. And the only people who can see the temple of wisdom are the truly wise. And the truly wise are the ones who recognize that what they know is like a drop of water compared to the ocean, compared to what they don't know. So even if you have had some of that flourishing, we can take a step back and realize, yes, I've had these great ideas, I've had this growing, and at the same time, also, I'm still just a tiny seed, still in that early phase of infinite potential. And the good news is, this cycle can keep on going. You can keep on learning new ideas to better serve others. You can keep on looking to the Lord as the source of that growth. You can keep on taking the ideas you've learned to blossom and spread and welcome others, to serve others, to love others, and to keep on doing so to eternity. Amen.
I invite you to rise for the benediction and closing of the Lord's Word. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen. Please be seated.
Come home. not an easy piece of music. It's my pleasure to again welcome you to Bryn Athyn College's 2024 commencement ceremonies. I'm Eric Carswell, the president of Bryn Athyn College. It's my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Curtis Childs. Curtis is an international speaker and influencer. He's the creator and host of Off the Left Eye brand, which has over 550 million video views and over 600,000 followers across social media. He's the Chief Visionary Officer at the Swedenborg Foundation and the Executive Director of New Church Live. He lives in Bryn Athyn with his wife, Brooke, and his daughter, Sydney. He received his Associates of Arts degree from Bryn Athyn College in 2006. Please welcome Curtis Childs.
Thanks. Just give me a second, because we got to get this mic just right. That song was so good that for a little while I forgot that I was about to come and give this speech. I was like, man, I never thought you could have harmonies that were like that. But let me start and do the thing that I have to do and not get it wrong. Chancellor Buss, President Carswell, family, friends, especially graduates, congratulations on today and all the hard work that it signifies. Way to go. Should we give them a quick round of applause? So, I was thinking about today and what I could add to this, and it occurred to me, having worked, as you heard, making videos on YouTube for a long time, a lot of people come to YouTube to watch how-to videos. Have you done that? Given that all of you graduates are about to go out into grown-up life, you're probably going to be doing a lot of looking up how-tos, like how do you do a good job interview? My drain is clogged. How does that not happen anymore? I thought that what I could do for you is help you multitask right now. So while you're doing your graduation, I can give you a couple of important how-tos during this slot so that you can learn a little bit about what I think are some of the most important how-tos in life. How-to number one is how to have the whole world be excited that you're graduating. As they first announced that it was going to be me doing this speech, probably as I came up here, perhaps many of you graduates, you parents, and family members were thinking, I have no idea who this guy is. I don't really care what he has to say. Hopefully it's not too long. And hopefully he doesn't embarrass himself by I don't know, like he says something wrong. I don't hold that against you. It's very hard to be excited about something when you don't know the person that is involved in it. But I can say that I can honestly say that I'm excited, even though I don't necessarily know all of you graduates. I am excited that you're graduating. Probably. I mean, it kind of depends on what you go and do, right? And I'm not talking about how successful you are. There are plenty of people who have graduated college and gone on to run very successful, make a ton of money running very successful Ponzi schemes. The rest of the human race, we are not into that. Me, especially the victims of those schemes, if we were there at that person's graduation, I think we'd be sitting on our hands as they walked across the stage. I think we would be saying, I wish that maybe you had taken a few nights off studying and gone and done something different with your life. But there is a way that you can have everybody in the world excited that you're graduating. Having us all cheering for you is actually much easier than having us not cheer for you. The only thing you have to do for even people you don't know to be excited about the fact that you're graduating is learn to love being useful. Learn to love your craft. Learn to love making a difference. Think as you're going and doing stuff. Think about the impact you will have on people as you do what you do, and keep that as your North Star. Then, whatever occupation you're in, whether you're a teacher or an architect or a parent, you will do that work honestly, justly, and faithfully because you know that it's the right thing to do. And that sounds small, but that is the greatest gift that you can give the human race. Because imagine what kind of world we would live in if everybody was doing that. Love usefulness, and then all of us are rooting for you. So that's how-to number 1. How-to number 2, speaking of the human race, how-to number 2 is how to get along with the human race. So while you were in college, you probably had to deal with people. There was probably some students and professors and coworkers that were easy to get along with. Some saw things very similarly to you, and that just went smoothly. There was probably others, it was a bit more of a challenge. You had to navigate relationships. You had to even figure out how to coexist with people that you disagreed with politically. You had to figure out how to deal with the human race. Well, that was college. Luckily now, that's over. Now that you're in the grown-up world, everybody gets along easily. Grown-ups, will you back me up on that? We had this, please, we left that stuff behind. The idea of just trying to play nice with each other can seem daunting in our big, divided, different world. It seems really complicated. It would be nice if there was some kind of, instruction manual for this is how you get along with people. Well, guess what? There is an instruction manual for that, and you are wearing it right now. You're like, what? Check the tag on my shirt. I'm talking about the human body. Everything you need to know about how to get along with the human race is written into the way the human body is. If you take a look at yourself, you will probably notice that you are made up of different parts. Actually, very different parts. Your teeth and your liver are almost nothing alike, and yet they're still part of a single whole, and they need each other. So I'm not a biologist, and I know that there are actual biologists and biology students here, so I'm going to try not to embarrass myself by getting this terminology wrong. But as I understand it, in general, none of the parts of the human body think that the other parts of the human body are stupid. Is that right? What I mean is, like, when the eye sees the kneecap, it doesn't say to the other eye, look at that weird little round bone. It doesn't even have a retina. Useless. No, the eye doesn't say that. You know why the eye doesn't say that? Because it knows that if the kneecap was not just like it is in the place where it is, the eye would just be looking at the ground. Like face plant is what we call that. Some parts of the body are rigid. Some are flexible. Some are complex, some are focused. It's the interplay of those that makes the body work as well as it does. Some people are rigid and slow to change. Some people are restless and they always want to try something new. It's a mix. It's always going to be a mix. Your neighbors are going to be a mix. Your coworkers are going to be a mix. The people that post the stuff online that drives you crazy, that's going to be a mix of people. Some people like to think a lot. Some people like to do. Some people like to support. What you can do to get along with the human race is look for how whatever they do, this person that's different from you, how does that possibly help this company that I'm in with them, or help society, and appreciate that. Some people seem stubborn in their thinking. Some people seem wishy-washy in their thinking. Some people want to push toward new things. Some people want to preserve old things. Both can be good, and they can be good at the same time. We need some people to be rigid and some to be malleable, just like you have to have tendons and bones to get the movement thing to happen. The message I'm trying to give is don't hate the kneecap for being a kneecap. Look for what its use to the greater whole is. Look for what it brings to the table that you don't, and how you can work with it. The model and instructions for how to get along were put there by God in every one of us. As Emanuel Swedenborg put it, it is a secret not yet known in this world that heaven taken in a single all-inclusive grasp, reflects a single individual. So that's how to get along with the human race. The next how-to is how to have what even CEOs are looking for. So once I was part of this leadership group, and we would meet in Washington, D.C. It was a program, and just about, not me, but just about everyone else in that program was either a CEO or a founder or both. These were high-powered people, and the program had its own philosophy, its own code of conduct, its ethics that we were trying to learn and incorporate in what we were doing. And it was great. It had some great ideas, so I wasn't trying to put too much of my Swedenborgian philosophy in there. But eventually, some of the people in the group began to be aware of some of the things I had done online, and they started asking me a little bit more about it. We were at a retreat near the end of the program. We're actually around a campfire, and people were saying, okay, just tell us a little bit more about your worldview. And I thought, okay, I will. And I thought maybe I would give a quick 5-minute overview to these people who already had everything that they needed. I talked for 50 minutes that night. Because each time I would try to wrap it up, someone else would have a question or they want to know more. They absolutely, absolutely loved it. And for months after that, I was getting follow-up emails and calls from these powerful people looking for more. All I told them was what you got in your Religion 101 class. Don't discount the importance of the religion. People at the top, maybe even more so, are still looking for how to live rightly, and a sense of what it's all for and what the good life is. In my own life, I've had some successes sometimes, but it's not where happiness comes from. For me, the teachings of the new church and the life that leads to, that's where happiness comes from. The last how-to, just a little one, is how to be invincible. You are not the only one involved in running your life. There is a bigger plan, and it's a bigger plan that you can trust. And you may say, I don't believe that. You're just some little religious guy saying that at a little graduation. Okay, fine. Here's a quote for you. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. Sometimes, so you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. That approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life. Do you know who that was? Anybody? Steve Jobs at Stanford's commencement. So if it's good enough for Steve Jobs, think about it. Maybe it's good enough for you. Emanuel Swedenborg would call that thing that you can trust divine providence. And he wrote, through his divine providence, God is taking care of everything. Which sounds good. Who's going to argue with that? It sounds good, but it can be difficult to know how to live like you believe that. So here is the best method that I've ever found for doing that. It's even one that I used in the preparation for this speech. So my grandfather died before I was born. My middle name is his name, but I never got to meet him. So I just heard this story about him. As he was nearing his end, he was very sick and he couldn't talk anymore. So he just had a pad of paper beside his hospital bed, and he would write on that to communicate with people. My grandmother was distraught. They still had kids at home, and she didn't know which would be worse, a long, drawn-out end where he would suffer, the kids would see it all, or if he went quickly, then they would lose him faster. And eventually she said to him, what are we going to do? He got his pad and quietly replied, I hope the Lord will use me as his best for everyone. The secret to life is to say, I hope the Lord will use me as his best for everyone. That is how to be invincible. I have found for myself that when I say, I want to be successful, I become unhappy as soon as that success fades. When I say, I want to be better, then I am pained when I see someone else who is better than me. When I say, my life needs to go in this particular way, my fears can torment me endlessly when it doesn't. But when I say, I hope the Lord will use me as his best for everyone, I find safety, calm, purpose, and joy. I would wish those same feelings for you. So in the end, I do wish you success, but don't get too hung up about it. Sometimes you will feel very successful. Sometimes you will feel down and out. But wherever you go, do usefulness. Stay steadfast in that through the ups and downs of success, and eventually that joy and usefulness, that becomes what the up is. That's what gives meaning to your life. As it says in Micah, what does the Lord require of you? To do justly, to love mercy, walk humbly with your God. The world is not just looking for skill and innovation. The world is looking for goodness. But the world is not just looking for goodness. The world is looking for skill and innovation too. Be both. Goodness and skill. Love and wisdom. Love without wisdom is nothing. Wisdom without love is nothing. Love is not all you need. Go and be both. Then if you do that, everyone in the world will be cheering for you. Even though the world might not technically know that you're graduating right now, if they did know and knew the code that you would go and live your life by and the impact that would have on the human race, they would absolutely be overjoyed that you are graduating. In that way, everyone in the world and who is to come into the world is right here in this room right now cheering for you as you walk across the stage. And I'm with them. Jesus Christ famously said that if we love him, we should feed his sheep. Let's go and do likewise. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Now it gives us great pleasure to ask the graduates receiving the Associate of Arts to please come to the side of the stage and prepare to come forward to receive your degree when your name is announced. We invite the audience to enthusiastically applaud each graduate, and you are welcome to take photos and video throughout the entire ceremony.
Chancellor Buss, President Carswell, members of the board and corporation, alumni, and friends. On behalf of the faculty of the college, I present these students for the Associate of Arts degree.
You have fulfilled the requirements prescribed by the faculty of the college, and thus the Board of Trustees of the Academy, under the power granted by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, has conferred upon you the Associate of Arts degree in testification of your graduation in this year of our Lord, 2024.
Kyle Bovett, Associate of Arts with an emphasis in business. Adam Hamlers, Associate of Arts with an emphasis in business, in absentia. Nicole Kozorek, Associate of Arts in pre-nursing. Ryan Kerwan, Associate of Arts with an emphasis in art, in absentia. Emma Maria Stein, Associate of Arts in pre-nursing, in absentia.
Are you ready? Here we go. Now it gives us great pleasure to ask the graduates receiving the baccalaureates to please come to the side of the stage and prepare to come forward to receive your degree when your name is announced.
Chancellor Buss, President Carswell, members of the board and corporation, alumni and friends, on behalf of the faculty of the college, I present these students for the Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science degree.
You have fulfilled or will have fulfilled the requirements prescribed by the faculty of the college and thus the Board of Trustees of the Academy, under the power granted by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, has conferred upon you the Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science degree in testification of your graduation in this year of our Lord, 2024.
James Edward Allen, Bachelor of Arts in Building Arts with a minor in History, cum laude. Alyssa Mackenzie Osblond, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Michael Carmody, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology in absentia. Ivy Clark, Bachelor of Arts in Human Society. Anais Hunter Connolly, Bachelor of Arts in Business with a minor in Psychology, cum laude. Matthew Contreras, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics with minors in Business, Computer Science, and Finance. Carl Edward Cranch, Bachelor of Arts in Business with a minor in Data Science, cum laude. Marco Cruz, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Evelyn Beth Deschazal, Bachelor of Arts in an interdisciplinary program combining biology and religion, and with minors in art history and dance, cum laude. Tegan Niles DeWeese, Bachelor of Arts in Building Arts with a minor in Business, cum laude. Kalia Duncan, Bachelor of Arts in Biology. James Brandon Dyson, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology with a minor in Business, cum laude. Anthony Falgitor Jr., Bachelor of Arts in Human Society with a minor in Law and Society. Blake Justin Halterman, Bachelor of Arts in an interdisciplinary program combining mathematics and computer science, and with a minor in data science, cum laude. Joram Bradley Heinrichs, in a Bachelor of Arts in an interdisciplinary program combining religion and education, in absentia. Kiara Henry, Bachelor of Arts in Business. Kira Kiley, Bachelor of Arts in Business with a minor in data science, cum laude. David John May, Bachelor of Arts in Business with a minor in data science. Mia Machichi, Bachelor of Arts in Business with a minor in Communications, cum laude. Faye Moretti, Bachelor of Arts in Human Society, in absentia. Adrian Norris, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Joseph Nugent, Bachelor of Arts in Business, in absentia. Alana Rose Jen O'Grady, Bachelor of Arts in an interdisciplinary program combining dance and education. Joseph Thomas O'Neill, Bachelor of Arts in Business. Willow Aria Orthwine, Bachelor of Arts in an interdisciplinary program combining performing arts and education, cum laude. Michael Perquette, Bachelor of Arts in Business, in absentia. Sabrina Quinn, Bachelor of Arts in Human Society with a minor in English. Timothy Reagan, Bachelor of Arts in Business. Privish Sidakat, Bachelor of Arts in an interdisciplinary program combining religion and biology. Reed Thomas Schroeder, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics with minors in Computer Science and Religion. Jeremy Michael Yoke, Bachelor of Arts in Business. Danielle Eileen Andrini, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education, cum laude. Emily Alexandra Bell, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education. Amber Catherine Dawes, Bachelor of Science in Biology with minors in History and Law and Society. Jade Dibert, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education with a minor in Religion, cum laude. Ava Rose Fino, Bachelor of Science in Biology. Alexander Hansen, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education. Trent Garner Hyatt, Bachelor of Science in Biology with a minor in Physical Science, cum laude. Emily Elizabeth Hoff, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education, cum laude. Caitlin Hauk, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education, cum laude. Gianna Giuliano, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education. Caitlin Osterhout, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education, cum laude. Allison Paul, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education. Kyan Peterson, Bachelor of Science in Biology. Kayla Michelle Pohl, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education. Jenna Sasso, Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood and Special Education.
And now, as a symbol of your graduation, I invite you to move your tassel from the right to the left.
At the graduation, celebration, and blessing that took place last night, Dean Klein announced the names of the recipients of the Bryn Athyn College Faculty Award given to the graduating students for the highest levels of scholarship, contribution to the intellectual life of the college, and affirmation of the college's distinctive purpose. I announce the special honor again here. This year's recipients, selected and affirmed by the faculty, are Evelyn Deschazal, Tegan DeWeese, and Jade Dybert.
And the valedictorians for the baccalaureate recipients are Tegan Dweez and Caitlin Osterhout.
It's twice the time.
Doesn't want to undo. We're just going to keep it that way.
Hello, class of 2024, President Carswell, Mr. Childs, Chancellor Buss, Dean Salata, Nelson, Bongers, Dibb, and all the professors who joined us today. Thank you all for allowing us to speak on behalf of the class. We also want to thank all the families for coming and joining us on this special occasion and sharing in the celebration that we all share. We also want to thank our advisors who guided and supported us through this journey. Thank you, Dr. Klein.
And thank you, Dr. Angela Rose.
So, fellow classmates,
We made it.
After 4 long years.
Well, some took 5 years.
And some overachievers managed it in 3, but we all ended up here today to celebrate the next step in life together as college graduates.
the story of each of our lives up until this point was written on completely different pages, often in entirely different books. And we too are no different.
We both stand here today on the same stage despite the drastically different journeys it took to get us here.
Tegan grew up on this very campus and spent most of his childhood here. He went from terrorizing these grounds as a toddler to studying in these buildings for 4 years, and eventually graduating with a major in building arts. Tegan helped start a few things on campus, being a founding member of the men's volleyball team and starting a disc golf club.
Caitlin had a completely different journey, growing up in Langhorne, PA. She transferred from another school in 2021 and joins me on this spot, graduating as an early childhood education major with a certificate in special education. Even though she did not start her education here, she is happy to finish it at Bryn Athyn College. One of Caitlin's fondest memories of her time here at Bryn Athyn were her interactions with her professors. One notable moment occurred in Dr. Ballard's class, where she reminded her students that the #1 rule of teaching is don't get sued.
We didn't know each other until we sat down on a Monday afternoon to write this speech. This is surprising considering the school size. But once we started talking, we found a common love for David Foster Wallace and share a sarcastic sense of humor and a need for Grammarly.
Both of us came from different places, cultures, and backgrounds, and we went through 2 completely different majors, and yet we are both here today. We are all here today, walking across the same stage, receiving the same honor, and following the same mission. A life of service, a life where we think for ourselves and live for others.
This whole college is a big Venn diagram of lives that slowly converge on this place we call Bryn Athyn.
Our experiences intertwine together in this small school filled with dedicated teachers and eager students. We each came here for our own reasons.
Some came for Bryn Athyn's unique offering of a new church education.
Some came for the opportunity to participate in higher level athletics without sacrificing their ability to be a student.
Some came for a specific major, biology, business, education, and building arts.
Or maybe some of you chose to study abroad or found yourself at Bryn Athyn out of convenience. No matter why you chose to attend this institution, you became part of its family.
A family that helped us grow as students and useful members of society, who will leave a lasting impact wherever we go in the world.
And this is what college is, a melting pot of people and experiences. College is about more than just books.
If you bought them.
And grades. It serves as a sort of social intensive, a time where you develop into the person you want to be.
David Foster Wallace uses a wonderful analogy in his famous commencement address at Kenyon College, now called This is Water, which you will recognize if you took and stayed awake in Professor Cole's philosophy class. So the story goes like this. 2 young fish are swimming along one day, and an old fish passes them, says,
"Good morning, how's the water today?"
and swims on by. One young fish then turns to the other and says, "What the hell is water?"
We students are those young fish. We have been here in this academic setting, focused on the fact that we're in college. We are having fun in our final time to party it up and be students before we are thrown out into the real world to try and survive. Little did we know that we were already in that real world.
The professors here are cultivating a space where we go through real-life scenarios and hone our skills for dealing with issues as they come up, be it debate skills, conflict resolution, writing a comprehensible email, or writing a lesson plan that we may or may not use.
We are swimming through this real world already. We are just so caught up in it all that we don't realize that the world is around us. We don't realize that this is water. That's why when we walk out of here into the real world, at first we'll say, "What the hell is water?" And then we'll remember that we've been swimming in this pond we call Bryn Athyn the whole time. And that pond is a very unique place. We must embrace the things that set this college apart and brought all of us here. Truly one-of-a-kind offerings and things like the Building Arts program often go rather unnoticed as the college is focused elsewhere for enrollment. I mean, where else can you go from marveling at a classmate's recreation of a 16th century book wheel in one class to reenacting a Revolution-era duel in full costume with Nerf guns in the very next one?
Where else can you go that has gardening as part of its curriculum? In the moment, it may not seem like something you would find useful when teaching, but this shows future teachers how important it is for children to learn from the environment around them, much like we Bryn Athyans learn from the environment around us. Not many campuses can claim all these things as real and regular parts of offered courses. We have a special thing here at Bryn Athyn, cultivated in part by the size of the campus. You get to know teachers and students here in a very special way. Your fellow classmates and your major become intertwined in your lives.
And it breaks my heart a bit as I see the college sell itself as just as good as any other college, when we are a whole different beast. We are our own Bryn Athyn beast. Chock full of one-of-a-kind professors and one-of-a-kind classes, and in a one-in-a-million location. We must embrace this and lean into our oddities, our uniqueness.
Because as we draw near the end of our time in this little pond, we have become a group of useful servants eager to jump out of this pond and into the oceans of life. This is our last time in that pond, leaving behind familiarity for a terrifying unknown, an exciting unknown. For most of us, this will be our last graduation and the last time you'll be in school. Unless you're an education major, then you will practically live and breathe school. For everyone else, it'll be the last time you have to turn in homework. It'll be the last time you have to stay up late for that assignment that you definitely didn't forget was due.
But we also have some firsts. Like, think about the word commencement. We think of a commencement as this graduation ceremony that we are all taking part in today. But it also means a beginning, a first. This will be your first time officially out of school. This will be the first time you take those initial steps into adulthood. This where you will receive your first real job, your first real paycheck, and of course, some of your first real bills.
Now, you may have this feeling of dread or nervousness over these first and last, but remember back to our friend David Foster Wallace and remember that you have been in the water this whole time. You have been ready for this moment. You are ready to take your next step. And though it may seem like a daunting journey ahead of us, we would like to leave you with a quote to help you with your journey, written by Charlie Macquarie.
"I can't see the way through," said the boy.
"Can you see your next step?"
"Yes."
"Just take that," said the horse.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now it gives us great pleasure to ask the graduate receiving a Master's of Art in Religious Studies to please come to the side of the stage and prepare to come forward to receive your degree when your name is announced.
Chancellor Buss, President Carswell, members of the board and corporation, alumni and friends. On behalf of the faculty of the college, I present this student for the Master of Arts in Religious Studies degree.
You have fulfilled the requirements prescribed by the faculty of the college, and thus the Board of Trustees of the Academy, under the power granted by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, has conferred upon you the Master of Arts degree in testification of your graduation in this year of our Lord, 2024.
Edward Kent Rogers, Master of Arts in Religious Studies.
Our commencement speaker, Curtis Childs, spoke to themes that the valedictorians, Tegan and Caitlin, also spoke of. Curtis said, "Love being useful." Tegan and Caitlin said, "The mission of a life of service, a life where we think for ourselves and live for others, is what this school's about. Being useful members of society who will leave a lasting impact wherever you go in the world." The valedictorian spoke of how you have all come on very different journeys to arrive at this graduation. And Curtis said, Consider that variety and look for the greater use each human being you meet serves for that greater whole. What another person adds to a situation that yours wouldn't so easily. How can you work with it? And he spoke of the secret of invincibility with that phrase from his grandfather, I hope the Lord will use me as is best for everyone. And Curtis said, don't discount the importance of religion. Many people, including those at the top, are still looking for a meaning and how to live rightly. The world is looking for goodness and skill, love and wisdom. And the valedictorians said, a special thing here at Bryn Athyn College is that it's different in a way that makes its education something very special. One-of-a-kind professors, one-of-a-kind classes, and one in a million locations. Does the fish know the water? You have been and will continue to be living in this world that we share. Congratulations on your graduation. I'm grateful for the parents and caregivers who built the foundation for your success. I'm grateful for all the faculty and staff of Bryn Athyn College and what they've done for you during your time here. Now, as this graduation event draws to a close, I'd like to think of what we're dedicated to, which is a college under the Lord God, Jesus Christ, a source of hope, a source of meaning, a source of guidance in good times and bad. And for all the people that helped this event to occur, I'd like to thank the College Chorale for their contribution to this event. Thank you to our graduation marshal, Matthew Genslinger, and all who contributed to the planning and organizing of this event. Thank you to all who came to share the celebration of graduation for all these students. And now we'll hear a second song from the College Chorale.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. And give you peace. And give you peace. And give you peace. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you and be gracious. The Lord be gracious, gracious unto you. Amen. Amen. Please rise for our final hymn, The Lord God Jesus Christ Doth Reign, found in your program. Following this song, you are invited to remain standing as the graduates process out.